చెప్పవే చిరుగాలి చల్లగా ఎదగిల్లి అత్తారింటికి నిన్నెత్తుకుపోతానుగా.
This is a time where he's doing this film and he's actually the age of the character. What's going on? He doesn't ask Boomy, do you need help? Another scene that is not my favorite, a Tarantiki. I'm probably murdering that. I'm sorry, but it's just one of my all-time favorites.
నమస్కారం, పరదేశీ పెద్దమ్మ కథలకు స్వాగతం. ఈ వారం నేను మెల్ని రివ్యూ చేయబోతున్న సినిమా సూపర్ స్టార్ మహేష్ బాబు కెరీర్ లోనే ఒక బ్లాక్ బస్టర్ గా నిలిచింది. ఇప్పటికీ కూడా మహేష్ బాబు కెరీర్ గురించి మాట్లాడుకోవాల్సి వస్తే ఆ సినిమా గురించి ఖచ్చితంగా మాట్లాడుకుంటాం. సో అలాంటి సినిమానే ఒక్కడు 2003లో గుణశేఖర్ డైరెక్షన్ లో వచ్చిన సినిమా ఎంత హిట్ అయిందో మనకు బాగా తెలుసు. సో ఈ మూవీని మెల్నీకి సజెస్ట్ చేశాను, తను కూడా చూసి చాలా బాగుందని చెప్పారు. కానీ ఎక్కడ నచ్చింది, ఏం నచ్చింది తన రివ్యూలో తెలుసుకుందాం. హాయ్ మెల్నీ.
Hi, I'm really excited, Harsha, because we're talking today about one of my all-time favorite Telugu films, Mahesh Babu in Okkadu. I love this film. I own it on DVD. I don't even know how many times I've watched it. But it was very fun to watch it again. I mean, I've seen probably at least a dozen Mahesh Babu films at this point. And this film came out in 2003. It wasn't his very first film. It wasn't his debut. I mean, he was a child actor and he'd had a film in 2001, Marari, which unfortunately I couldn't find with subtitles. But anyway, This film is what really cemented him as a big star. But what I love about it is he's actually, okay, I mean, I love him in his 40s. I'm not criticizing, but I'm saying this is a time where he's doing this film and he's actually the age of the character. Okay, he's in his 20s. He looks like a young man, and through the course of this film, you're seeing essentially, a boy, become a man. And through the course of what he goes through with the Boomy character, how he takes responsibility. His father is a cop, and so he keeps urging him to take the ISP exam instead of just wanting to be a kabaddi player. So his family is kind of down on him that he's not responsible yet, and he shows through this film he becomes a responsible person. But I also just love it. He just doesn't kind of have all the trappings of the stardom. When you see him in a film now, it's just a very different swagger, a very different, I don't know, just a different feel. Not that I don't like it, I do, but I'm just saying this film, it's before all of that, and I love that. All right, so this film is directed by Gunasekar, and I don't think I've really seen any of his other films except for the recent Rudima Devi. Yeah. So, which big film that came out a few years back. But this film, I think, probably is his biggest blockbuster aside from that. The story was written by him, but also dialogues by the Purchuri brothers, and the music, of course, by Mani Sharma. We'll get more into and then it stars, of course, our heroine is played by Bhumi Chawla, and then our villain is Prakash Raj. So the Mani Sharman, we'll talk about some of the songs that I love in a minute, but I want to talk about the background score of the opening scene. We have, before we know that Mahesh is a kabaddi player and all of that, we see him, he's the leader of a gang of rowdies, and there's another gang of rowdies, and we're seeing them eyeing each other and about ready to rumble. And the music is inspired by West Side Story. So the Sharks versus the Jets. In fact, Mahesh is snapping, just like the gangs in the West Side Story opening number. And so, you have just kind of the music is not a copy. I'm not saying he's copying the music, but it's inspired by, and it's very similar to Leonard Bernstein music, da-da-da-da, so it has kind of that same feel, which I absolutely love. So I love that whole sequence. But also just the songs in the film are really great. So there's so many scenes of this film that I really love. Mahesh, like I said, he says, what? Go ahead.
That punch scene.
Yes. So well, I was going to say first that I love his scenes when we're introduced to his family, his teasing relationship with his younger sister. His mother is played by Geeta, and his father, who is a DCP, is played by Mahesh Rishi. And I just love that whole setup of the dynamic of their family. It just feels real. Like these feel like real characters, real people. It's not super larger than life when we first are introduced to Mahesh. So he lives in Hyderabad, but then he goes for a kabaddi match in a nearby rural town. And that's where when I think he's calling home or something in a phone booth, and he sees Prakash Raj dragging Bhumi by her arm. He can see she's crying and she doesn't want to be dragged. And he doesn't even say anything. He just kind of stands there and he makes a decision. You could just see this decision being made. I'm going to intervene. And he goes over there, doesn't even say anything. He doesn't even ask Prakash Raj what's going on. He doesn't ask Bhumi, do you need help? Just gives him a punch. And then from that point on in the film, we're off to the races. The film never stops. It's just nonstop action. And even though the length is literally almost completely 3 hours long, you don't feel that. And I have seen some recent 3-hour films where I was checking my watch in the theater, like, you felt that length. Not with this film, because the pacing of it is so fantastic, and there's constant action. There's car chases, there's there's fight sequences, and those early fights actually kind of feel more realistic. The final confrontation with Prakash Raj in the Kabaddi stadium. Okay, Prakash Raj is flying around like it gets a little. It is more of the over-the-top Telugu action style, but I did appreciate that some of the earlier fight sequences, I don't know, just had a more realistic, natural feel to them. So now he's on the run, and even though Bhumi's character says, you don't have to do, you can be killed, you just walk away from me, it's okay. Of course he doesn't. He takes responsibility. He hides her in his house. So here his dad is the DCP, and he hides her.
He hides her in the walls.
So there's so many great scenes that I absolutely love. The writing of this film is so wonderful. And I love the setting. They recreated an old neighborhood in Hyderabad and recreated Charminar. I think it was like 17 or 18 million rupees, and hundreds of people constructing this set.
Entire they created.
Right. And I love my favorite song sequence is Chapavi Chiragali, when she's kind of upset. And he starts this song and dancing. I'm saying it wrong. Say it right. Yeah, and so they're on the rooftops, and you can see Charminar in the background, and it's. But I love the choreo of that particular sequence. Feels natural. It just feels like young people gathering at a party and just sharing music and dancing. There are other fantasy songs, later in the movie that have a more traditional, elaborate choreography, and I love that too. But this particular song and the way it just organically happens, and how Bhumi then starts to dance as her mood is lifted.
My personal favorite song is that one, heroine entrance song. Nuvem Maya Chesavu Kani. Actually, the song is sung by Shreya Ghoshal. That is her first Telugu song.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wasn't aware that it was her first one. So, I love Prakash Raj as a villain. I love him in his sweet roles too, his father roles. But there's nobody that can do a villain like Prakash Raj.
Ready.
Yeah. I mean, the peril that Bhumi's character is in is real. He is determined to marry her. He's, he basically owns this town as a politician in his local, rural town. And so her family is powerless. 2 of her brothers are killed by him or his goons. and she's on the run. The only thing that her family can think to do is send her to relatives in America. So that's the whole goal of Mahesh trying to get her to America. And when he finally gets her to the airport, like, he doesn't admit, she's admitted that she has feelings for him, but he can't, he's just keeping it casual. Like, we're all like, yeah, we know we know you're a goner, but he's just
what?
like, here's your passport, here's your passport, here's your documents, here's the phone numbers of your relatives. And he just kind of walks away, and he's like, okay, Swapna, get on the bike, and then realizes she's gone. I just love that she has the love confession. She runs back, hugs him. I want you. I don't want to leave you. And he's just holding his arms out like this. And then we just see him like slowly admit, okay, I do have feelings for this girl.
When he hold the hand of Bhumika, till end he didn't leave her. That's
Right.
the great thing.
Right.
That's the impact
You know,
that created.
Yeah, it's just, I love that. I just love their love story. I love how this kind of a hero like that we can see him falling in love, but he can't admit that it's happening. Another scene that is not my favorite is on their way to the airport. She sneaks off and buys him some knee pads for his Kabaddi championship game, and he loses it and slaps her. Okay. He just, because he's so terrified that she's been captured again. And I understand the motivation of including that, showing that he's losing his cool because he cares about her so much. I can't condone any man slapping a woman. I just have to kind of ignore that scene happens in this movie. Because otherwise it's this one sour note. And otherwise, I love the entire rest of the film. Like I said, I can understand why they put it in there, just showing that, again, he can't admit his feelings, and that shows us, the audience, like how terrified he was that she had been captured again. But I hate it.
I think that's a common human emotion, right? So the Gunshekar wants to try protect the originality of a man, originality of a male.
Right. I get it, but yet I don't like it. I'm just being honest with you. I understand it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I love their love story. I love the setting, all the songs and all the scenes on the rooftops with Charminar, and it's just gorgeous. It was worth all the money that they spent building those sets, because it's fantastic. Another favorite song of mine is a fantasy song. At a certain point, Prakash Raj has captured her. They're preparing for the wedding. We have to mention the woman playing Prakash Raj's mother, Telangana Shakuntala. Oh my gosh. They're slapping her thigh. She is an awesome. She is an awesome character. But anyway, in Bhumi's character's mind, she's just letting all of these wedding preparations happen, but she's fantasizing that all of it is preparing for a wedding with Mahesh's character. And that's one of the great things about Indian films and these songs, is that kind of it can just be a flight of fancy and showing us what's inside their minds and what they're thinking and fantasizing about. And so that particular song is called Atarantiki. I'm probably murdering that. I'm sorry, but I love that one. That's on a full-on big choreo Mahesh dance, and wedding finery, and I love that one. Yeah. But all the songs, the entire soundtrack by Mani Sharma, is a fantastic soundtrack for this. Yeah, I mean, so this movie, Mahesh won a Filmfare Award for Telugu, and it won numerous Nandi Awards and so forth. So it's
the great thing is it's just remake into some other films, nearly 6, I think.
Yeah.
Even
there's this film. I actually, before I saw this original Telugu film, I saw the Hindi remake, Tevar, with Arjun Kapoor. Pales in comparison to the original. Okay, I am a fan. I am a fan of Arjun Kapoor, and the Superman song, and that is good. But I don't know, like they kind of set up Arjun Kapoor as again like larger than life from the beginning, and I like how Mahesh, you're seeing a regular guy who just steps up and become, and not like somebody who can beat up every goon in the neighborhood from the beginning. So yeah, I haven't seen all the remakes, but Vijay did the Gilly and Tamil. Yeah, there's been I think at least 6 remakes of this. It's just, but it's just an excellent film, and I think it's one of Mahesh Babu's favorites that he looks back on in his career, and deservedly so. I mean, this is the one that really made him a superstar, and also it's just an excellent film. So in America, it is available on Amazon Prime for rental, and it's available without subtitles for free on YouTube. Yeah, but I mean, I highly recommend. How can you have come? I mean, we've been talking spoilers or whatever, but how can you not have seen this film? This is, if you're a Mahesh fan, or even if you're not, you will be after you have.
Everybody will be.
Everybody will be. It's just one of my all-time favorites. So thank you, Harsha, for letting me fangirl about one of my favorites. I love this film, and I highly urge everyone to see it.
Thank you so much, Melanie. అంటే కోర్ ఎమోషన్ కి కట్టుబడి తన కోసం తను నమ్మి వచ్చిన ఒక అమ్మాయి కోసం ఒక హీరో ఎంతవరకు నించున్నాడు అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ ని అంత బాగా ఎలివేట్ చేశారు కాబట్టి గుణశేఖర్, దానికి తోడు మణి శర్మ గారు అందించిన అత్యద్భుతమైన మ్యూజిక్ అంత బాగా సెట్ అయ్యాయి కాబట్టి ఈ రోజుకి కూడా మహేష్ బాబు కెరీర్ గురించి మాట్లాడుకోవాల్సి వస్తే ఒక్కడు సినిమా ఖచ్చితంగా ప్రస్తావనకు వస్తుంది. ఒక్కడు సినిమాతోనే సూపర్ స్టార్ స్టేటస్ అనేది మహేష్ బాబుకి దొరకడం, ఆ తర్వాత ఆయన చాలా మంచి సినిమాలు కూడా చేయడం అనేది జరిగింది. సో ఇది వారం మెల్నీతో ఇంటర్వ్యూ. మరో వారం మరో మంచి రివ్యూతో మీ ముందుకు వస్తాం. అంటిల్ దెన్ బాయ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ మెల్నీ.
బాయ్.